Let's give it a couple of minutes. If you have, Rabbi Claudio, some music to share or some video, now would be like a good time for 5 minutes.
Okay, we can do that. Just 1 second. I have a couple of things that I can do. Okay, let's start with this one. The first is Requiem that was composed for the victims of the AMIA, was played at the Colón Theater in Buenos Aires. Let me just set it up.
You can also mute yourself, Laura. Don't worry about that.
Yeah. Yeah, I think
I just muted you. Don't worry. Don't worry.
Okay. So let me just go back here and share, and I will begin.
Thank you so much, Rabbi Claudio Kupchik, for sharing the requiem that I believe, as you said, was composed especially for the victims of the AMIA and was played at Teatro Colón, yes?
Yes, absolutely. And it says in that little snippet we shared that only when there's justice, there can be peace.
Yeah. Thank you so much. I will just like to share some words of welcoming. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining us today. Yishar Koach to Rabbi Avi Weiss for encouraging us to put this together, and to all the rabbis who are joining us here, and everyone who is participating, who is taking a few minutes to activate our memory. And I like to use this expression, activate our memory, because memory is a muscle that if we don't use it, we lose it basically. And we need to make an effort to remember. And it reminds me of a short story about this person who was standing in the square of town trying to call people for repentance, and basically he was there left alone. He was yelling and screaming alone, and someone came and said, don't you see that nobody's listening to you? So he replied, at the beginning, I was sharing my message with others to change other people. And now I'm sharing the message so they won't change me. And I think the same can be said about remembering the victims of AMIA and activating our memory. I guess at the beginning, the first years when the bombing was very close, we screamed loud and we went to all the rallies to share the message with other people. And I think, at least for me, right now, after 31 years in a different country, I need to do this in order to keep the memory of the victims alive in my own memory, to remember that it is my duty to keep asking for justice. And so I really appreciate this moment to be together. We are commemorating not the regular calendar day, but the Jewish calendar was the day after Tisha B'Av, the 10th of Av, and this is what brings us together. So thank you for being here today. We are going to ask Rabbi Rolly Matalon to share a psalm with us.
Thank you so much, Manes, and everybody for being here on this sad day. We had a sad day yesterday, a sad day today of commemoration of a great tragedy. And the tragedy goes on. And so we invoke God's help with Psalm 121. Shir למעלות, אשא עיניי אל ההרים, מאין יבוא עזרי. עזרי מעם השם, עושה שמיים וארץ, אל יתן למות רגליך, אל ינום שומרך, הנה לא ינום ולא ישן, שומר ישראל, השם שומרך, השם צילך, עליית ימינך, יומם השמש לא יככה וירח בלילה, השם ישמורך מכל רע, ישמור את נפשך, השם ישמור את צאתך ובואך, מעתה ועד עולם, מעתה ועד עולם. Back to you, Manis.
Thank you so much, Rabbi Rolly. And I would like to invite Rabbi Avi Weiss, our teacher, to share some words of Torah.
Presente, presente, presente. On this, the 31st painful Hebrew anniversary, Veronica is present, Yanina is present, Paola is present, Sebastian is present, Albert Niesman, the 86th victim, is present. Still, no justice. After murdering Abel, God tells Cain, Kol demei achicha tzoakim elai min ha'adama. The voice of your brother's bloods cry out to me from the ground. We too declare, the bloods cry out from the ground. Walking through Auschwitz a few years ago, walking near AMIA a few years ago, the words of Mishle, of the Proverbs, gashed through our souls. Eretz al tichasi dami, va'al yehi mikom lizakati. O earth, do not cover up my blood. Let there be no resting place for my outcry. A humble, haunting nigun in memory of the AMIA victims. Yehi Zichram Baruch. Presente, presente, presente. Today, tomorrow, forever, presente.
Eretz al dechasi dami ve'al yehi makom lezakati. Eretz al dechasi dami ve'al yehi makom lezakati. Ay alalay, ay laylay, ay laylay, ay laylay. Oh, earth, do not cover up my blood. Let there be no resting place for my outcry. Oh, earth, do not cover up my blood. Let there be no resting place for my outcry. Ay, la, la, ay, la, la, ay, la, la, ay, la, la. Eretz דחסידני ואל יהי מקום לזעקתי ארץ עדך סידני ואל יהי מקום לזעקתי
Avi, this is beautiful. Mamash, beautiful, beautiful, very deep.
Thank you so much, Rabbi Avi, for sharing. And speaking of sharing, I would like to invite my colleague, my friend, Rabbi Alfredo Borodowski, to share a memory of a friend of his who perished at the AMIA bombing. And thank you so much for being with us, Rabbi Alfredo.
Thank you. You know, sometimes when the tragedy is so enormous, so large, the pain may be diluted in the enormity. And I thought that just bringing one face out of the pain may represent each one of the victims. And this is a memory of Javier Nahum Tenenbaum. I met him at law school, and we became immediately an odd couple. He was from Chabad, and I was from the Seminario, and he was very entrenched on Chabad, really following Chabad, and I was at that point all a full conservative Jew with all the ideology. And we met at law school and became so close. I think that Javier told me things at the human level that he didn't tell anybody else. And we became best friends. When we finished law school, I remember he opened his office as a lawyer, and he was having a problem that Chabad was sending him everybody who couldn't afford the lawyer. And the way Javier was, he would take any case without asking any question. And he was spending most of his time just working pro bono. And he was that morning at the AMIA paying for the funeral of his father. Then the tragedy was exponentially magnified. I went immediately to Argentina for the funeral, and we were there at La Tablada at the cemetery. And you could see the recently dug tomb of his father, Manuel, and Javier next to him. And you could see his wife with the three daughters. The youngest one, just a baby. He left three daughters. And the good news is that I am in touch with the daughters, and they became fully blossomed women, keeping the memory of the father. And life came out of the tragedy through them. Then I just wanted to, I miss him tremendously every day. I feel a void that Javier isn't here, and the way he was taken away from us. And I just wanted to bring him today to this gathering. And behind him, all the other victims that are in the memory of those who knew them and loved them. Thank you, Manis.
Thank you so much, Rabbi Alfredo. And it's impossible in a short commemoration like this to be able to focus on each of the victims, but your memory, Rabbi Alfredo, reminded us that that there is a story, a full world, olam maleh, behind each person, each name. At least it's very important for us at this moment to remember that it's not a number. Many times when we face a tragedy, we focus on the number 85, and it's very easy to just think about numbers. We do it with the Shoah. We talk about 6 million. We talk about, in every, with 9/11. And what we are going to do now is we're going to go over all the names. I am going to share a link for you to have. You can download it and look at it, and we're going to share a screen. And there is a very, very short, maybe one line about how what was each of these victims doing on that morning at the AMIA. You will see that some people worked there, some people went there because they needed to run an errand. Some people were walking by the street. Some people were the neighbors, even the non-Jewish neighbors across the street who were killed by the bombing. Every person is a full story, and I'm going to ask Sylvia to read the names. I'm going to share the screen, and then I'm going to share a link for all of you to have. Veile Shemot, and these are the names.
Silvana Alguea de Rodríguez, Jorge Antúnez, Moisés Gabriel Arasi, Carlos Avendaño Bobadilla, Janina Aberbach, Nahum Band, Sebastián Barreiros, David Barriga, Hugo Norberto Basiglio, Rebeca Bejar de Junín, Dora Belgorowski, Fabio Enrique Bermúdez, Romina Volant, Emiliano Gastón Brickman, Gabriel Butini, Viviana Adela Casabé, Paola Chicheweski, Jacobo Chemanuel, Cristian Dechtiar, Diego de Pirro, Ramón Norberto Díaz, Norberto Ariel Dubín, Feivel Diamond, Mónica Feldman de Goldfeder, Alberto Fernández, Martín Figueroa, Ingrid Finkelstein, Leonor Gutmann de Finkelstein, Fabián Marcelo Furman, Guillermo Galarraga, Erwin García Tenorio, José Enrique Cookie Ginsberg, Cynthia Goldenberg, Andrea Guterman, Silvia Hersalis, Carlos Gilú, Emilia Chakubiek de Leuchuk, María Luisa Jaworski, Augusto Daniel Jesús, María Lourdes Jesús, Analía Hodge, Carla Hodge, Elena Castica, Esther Klein, León Norpel, Berta Kosuk de Los, Luis Kupchik, Agustín Leu, Andrés Malamud, Gregorio Hessele Melman, Iliana Merkovich, Naon Bernardo Bubi Mirochnik, Mónica Nudel, Elías Palti, Germán Parsons, Rosa Perelmutter, Fernando Pérez, Abraham Jaime Plaxin, Silvia Portnoy, Olegario Ramírez, Noemí Reisfeld, Félix Roisman, Marisa Said, Ricardo Said, Rimar Salazar Mendoza, Fabián Shalit, Pablo Shalit, Mauricio Schieber, Néstor Américo Serena, Mirta Strier, Liliana Schwimmer, Nahum Javier Tenenbaum, Juan Terranova, Emilia Berelegis de Toer, Mariela Toer, Marta Treitman, Ángel Upfal, Eugenio Vela Ramos, Juan Vela Ramos, Gustavo Daniel Velázquez, Isabel Núñez de Velázquez, Danilo Villaverde, Julia Susana Wolinski de Kreiman, Rita Worona, Ademar Zárate Loaiza.
May their memory be for a blessing. I'm going to put in the chat the list. And perhaps I can give you a homework that I will take upon myself when you receive the list. You also can find the list online if you put victims of the AMIA. And just to take one name and do a little research about the person. Who was the person? What about his or her family? Where are the survivors now? And try to find a little online, just on one person. You don't have to do 2 or 3 or 10. And find out, and maybe try to connect with the story of that person to give another layer. We went from the number to the name, and maybe we can go a little more, and each of us can take one story and just bring them to life by doing that again. At this point, we have a little more time. I'm going to ask Rabbi Rolly Matalon to lead us in El Maleh Rahamim for the victims. Please rise.
אל מלא רחמים, שוכן במרומים. חמצי מנוחה נכונה תחת כנפי השכינה, במעלות קדושים וטהורים כזוהר הרקיע מזהירים. את נשמות כל אלה שהזכרנו היום לברכה, שנרצחו בפיגוע באמיה, שלחו לעולמם. בגן עדן תהא מנוחתם. אנא ברחמים אסתירם בסתר כנפיך לעולמים. צרור בצרור החיים את נשמותיהם, אדוני הוא נחלתם. וינוחו בשלום על משכבותיהם, ונאמר אמן.
Thank you so much, Rabbi Rolly. We would like to mark the moment, the exact moment where the bombing, when the bombing took place, which is 8:53 New York time and 9:53 in Argentina, Buenos Aires time. So we are going to just wait a few more minutes for.
I may share.
Go ahead, Rabbi.
Also, since we have a little time, about Susie Wolinski, the Krayman, just to say that she was my Hebrew teacher in Talmud Torah when I was 8 years old. And I owe her, I was in touch with her and with Angel for many, many years. After that, of course, in my adult years, we were very much in contact with each other. They visited New York at least once a year. We saw each other in Yerushalayim. But I always go back to the memory of my beloved teacher in Talmud Torah, who basically taught me the Aleph Bet. And I have a tremendous gratitude for her, and I know that her daughters and now grandchildren carry her memory forward in such a beautiful way here in Boston, in Peru, as well as in Israel. And her memory is definitely a blessing for all who know her. A very pious woman, very, very sense of deep religiosity. And she was always reciting Tehillim, and she was always very careful with her practice, and very mild, gentle person, very loving person. And Yehi Zichra Baruch.
Thank you so much, Rabbi Roli. And perhaps we can ask Rabbi Claudio, it's going to change a little the order. If you can share some closing remarks, and then we are going to wait for 8:53.
Sure. And first, also perhaps bring my testimony of the 4 people I knew that died on that day. Of course, Susie, that was the wife of our colleague Angel Kramer, Alava Shalom, and Javier Tenenbaum, who before going to Chabad was also a Barbanel student at the seminario, and he married a classmate of mine from Talpiot, Ruti. So I knew him well. I knew him also as well, not perhaps as well as Alfredo, but I certainly knew him. And Abraham Jaime Plaxin, who was a teacher, and an uncle of one of my other classmates, who organized every year the Jewish book fair at AMIA, that we would go and buy all the Israeli and Jewish books because they were not so widely. There was no Amazon then, so we have to go to the book fair to get the Jewish books, and he organized it every year. And also there's that person Kupchik, who, despite Luis Kupchik, despite sharing my last name, we are not really relatives, but it is striking. But for me, the most personal memory is the fact that the AMIA was where my mom worked for as long as I have memory. She worked in the Vada Chinuch, in the Board of Jewish Education, in the kindergarten section. And for years as a child, after school, going to visit her, I remember that building was like in my playground. I remember the sounds, the smells of the very specific smell that the Vada Chinuch office had. The elevators, that were old elevators that were manually operated, and the lady that used to operate the elevator. Very personal memories. That's the place. They had an auditorium. That's where we had the graduation from my school, because it was a nice room where we had the book fairs. So many memories of life, because today for a lot of people is the memory of the tragedy, but it was a place full of life for many, many years. And we are going to be close to the time of the tragedy. So just before blowing the shofar, I'm going to say that we heard in the Requiem at the beginning that there cannot be peace, there cannot be shalom if there's no justice. And there is no justice yet. 31 years later, the blood of the victims still clamors for justice. And other victims were added with time, like Nisman, the DA that was investigating the matter. And we still fight the Amalek of terrorism. Terrorism is Amalek. Because in the Torah, we read that we must remember, we must keep the memory alive, the famous passage, Zachor et asher asa lecha Amalek, remember what Amalek did to you. And what is what Amalek does to us? Yet it attacks the weak, it attacks civilians, it attacks bystanders. And that's what the Torah says. Vayzaneb becha kol hanechashalim acharecha. Amalek sneaks up on you and destroys the weak among you, the civilians among us. And we must fight Amalek and bring Amalek to justice. At the same time, we need to be mindful of the toll that fighting Amalek takes on our souls. It's not free to fight Amalek. We must do it, but it takes a deep toll in our souls. And we experience that till this very day in the world. And let us hope that we will soon have a day of justice that can bring peace. Shalom al Israel, shalom al olam. Peace for Israel and peace to the world. And now it's time for the shofar, right? We don't have justice yet, so I'm going to change a little bit of the order of the shofar. We will end with the truah, the cry of the sounds of the shofar, the alarm of the shofar, to remind us that we still hope and pray and need justice.
Thank you so much, Rabbi Claudio. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining us today for this short but meaningful memorial. Again, thank you to Rabbi Avi for bringing us together. Thank you to all my colleagues, and thank you for, it's good to see Rabbi Exler also. And I really appreciate everyone who's joining us today, everyone who took a little time from their busy schedules to be here this morning. I share two links in the chat. One is some information, basic information from Wikipedia about the AMIA bombing. There is a lot of information there for those who don't know too much exactly what happened. You can read a little more, and also a link from with the names of the victims, encouraging each of you to take one name and do a little research. There is a lot of things online, and just to take one story and to try to bring one of the victims to life by using our memory. Thank you so much for joining us today. May everyone have a blessed day, only good things.